Before we begin, make yourself comfortable. Find a position that allows your body to rest completely. Your eyes can gently close, your breath slowing as you listen, not to learn so much as to receive. This time is for you. No goals, no ambitions, just a quiet space for remembering something you may have forgotten, that you are already enough. As we move through this talk, we'll explore why humans so often struggle to feel okay about themselves and how to begin releasing that tension. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw soften. There's nowhere you need to be right now, except right here. We begin with something deeply human, the desire to belong. Every person from birth seeks connection, to family, to friends, to a larger group or tribe. This instinct isn't weakness. It's wired into our biology. Belonging once meant survival. When we were part of the group, we were safe. When we stood alone, danger followed. Think back thousands of years, when our ancestors gathered around fires at night. To be cast out meant facing predators, harsh weather, and starvation alone. The group was everything: protection, warmth, food, safety. So even in the modern world, where wild animals no longer lurk beyond the firelight, our nervous systems still react as if belonging equals safety. When we feel accepted, our stress quiets. When we sense rejection, our body flares with the same alarms that once signaled physical threat. Your heart might race, your stomach might tighten, your mind might spiral with worry. These aren't overreactions. They're ancient survival mechanisms still humming beneath the surface of modern life. Belonging is a core human need, but it comes with a subtle cost. Because when belonging feels uncertain, as it often does, we begin scanning for signs. Am I measuring up? Do they like me? Am I worthy of my place here? That quiet anxiety grows into comparison, judgment, and self-doubt. And before we know it, we're caught in a web we didn't even realize we were spinning. Take a slow breath now. Notice how your chest rises and falls. Let yourself settle a little deeper. Judgment, too, is universal. Humans judge instinctively. We judge what's safe or unsafe, right or wrong, who's trusted or not. These judgments evolved to protect us, helping us navigate social life. They helped our ancestors determine which berries were poisonous, which people could be trusted, which behaviors led to acceptance or rejection. But in modern times, this useful tool often turns inward. The mind uses its judgment not just on the world, but on the self. Have you noticed that inner voice, constantly evaluating? It comments on what you did, what you said, how you look, how you compare to others. It finds evidence that you are not quite there yet. You find yourself thinking, you should have said something smarter. Why can't you be more like them? You're falling behind. Everyone else has it figured out. This mental chatter can feel endless, a background noise that hums through every waking hour. And the strange thing is, it doesn't stop even when we succeed. The standards shift, the goalposts move, and suddenly we are chasing approval again. You get the promotion, but then worry you're not good enough for the new role. You lose the weight, but then notice other flaws. You accomplish something meaningful, but the voice whispers, yes, but what about next time? The judging mind is never satisfied. It wasn't designed to be. It was designed to keep you alert, always scanning for threats and shortcomings. But what once protected you now often traps you. Let your breathing deepen. Feel the weight of your body against the surface beneath you. You're safe right now. The judging mind can rest for a while. The desire to belong, combined with our judging mind, creates what might be called the endless race of expectations. We measure ourselves by the rules of the tribe, by beauty ideals, success stories, social approval, and invisible shoulds. We do this with others, too, holding unspoken standards that usually will never be met. We think you should be thinner, richer, smarter, funnier, more productive, more creative, more put together. You should have more friends, more accomplishments, more certainty about your life's direction. You should be further along by now. It's exhausting, isn't it, to live in a world where you constantly judge your worth through imagined eyes watching you. And here's the deeper irony. Everyone else is doing the same thing, measuring themselves by others, each person trapped in their own mirror maze, trying to confirm belonging by comparison. The person you envy for their confidence, they're wondering if they're smart enough. The one who seems to have it all together, they're questioning whether they're truly loved or just tolerated. The successful one, they're terrified of being exposed as a fraud. We're all running the same race, chasing the same impossible standard of enough, never realizing that the finish line doesn't exist. And yet, belonging never truly comes from meeting expectations. It comes from being part of a family or tribe that accepts you as you are. Let that sink in as you continue to relax. You never had to earn your place. It was guaranteed by those who welcomed you without conditions, a family or group that most of us find without looking. If you're unlucky, you had to use trial and error until you can tell the difference between those who genuinely cared for you and those who merely pretend to. When we live in continuous comparison, the body and mind pay a price. The stress of never enough shows up as tension in the shoulders, as shallow breathing, as tiredness that even sleep can't quite fix. It becomes anxiety, frustration, burnout, or shame. You might notice yourself clenching your jaw without realizing it, your shoulders creeping up toward your ears, your breath becoming shallow and tight, your sleep disrupted by racing thoughts about what you should have done differently. The heart grows restless. Instead of feeling at home in yourself, you feel like a guest performing for approval in your own life. You edit yourself before speaking, wondering how your words will be received. You adjust your image, hoping others will see you as worthy. You second-guess your choices, always measuring them against some invisible standard. It's like living in a house where you're constantly tidying up for visitors who never arrive, never allowing yourself to truly settle in and be comfortable. Over time, this sense of inner disapproval wears you down. The nervous system stays on alert. The mind never rests. We forget how to simply be, without judgment, without performance. And that act of forgetting how to simply be, that's perhaps the greatest cost of all. We lose touch with the simple truth of our existence, the quiet knowing that we are already whole. Your body is growing heavier now. Let it. Let the muscles soften. Let the tension drain away, like water, finding its level. To ease that cost, we start not by fighting judgment, but by noticing it. Every time your mind drifts to self-criticism, you have a small moment of choice. You can notice the judgment and not follow it. This is subtle but powerful. You don't have to believe every thought that crosses your mind. Thoughts are just thoughts. They arise. They pass. They don't define you. Imagine your thoughts like small clouds drifting across a wide blue sky. You don't have to chase or control them. You simply sit beneath, feeling the vastness of the sky that holds them all. A thought appears. I'm not good enough. You notice it. Ah, there's that thought again. You don't argue with it. Don't try to replace it with a positive statement. Don't beat yourself up for having it. You just see it like watching a bird fly past your window. Each time you do this, you create a pause between thought and self. And it is in that pause that self-acceptance begins. That pause is freedom. It's the space where you remember that you are not your thoughts, not your judgments, not your constant mental evaluation. You are the awareness that witnesses all of it. Practice this now, gently. Notice whatever thoughts are present. Don't judge them or push them away. Just notice, like clouds, like birds, like weather passing through. Comparison is a thief of peace, but it's also a teacher. When you compare yourself to others, the mind is trying to answer the question, am I okay? It looks outward because somewhere along the way, we learn that our worth is determined by others, the teachers, parents, peers, or cultures that shaped us. Maybe you learned it in school, when grades and rankings determined who was smart and who wasn't. Maybe you learned it at home, when love felt like it depended on performance. Maybe you learned it from social media, where everyone's highlight reel became your standard for normal. But comparison never satisfies that question. The mind can always find someone wealthier, wiser, prettier, luckier, and even if you become the best, you live in fear of losing that place. Think about it. If you're always measuring yourself against others, you're on a treadmill that never stops. Someone will always have something you don't. Someone will always seem to be doing better, having more, being more. The truth is, there is no finish line in comparison. There is only exhaustion. When you recognize that, really see it clearly, something softens inside. You stop racing. You realize peace cannot be found by outrunning others. It comes when you sit where you are and breathe freely again. Comparison asks, how do I measure up? Acceptance answers, I don't need to measure up. I just need to be. Let your breath carry that truth deeper into your body. Feel how much lighter it is to simply exist without the weight of constant measurement. It might sound strange, but the deepest sense of belonging begins when you stop trying to belong anywhere. The need for outer belonging fades when you discover inner belonging, a quiet acceptance of who you already are. Think for a moment of all the roles you've played in your life: student, friend, worker, parent, partner, dreamer, helper. Each role was real, yet beneath all of them, there has always been one constant presence: you. The you that existed before you learned to speak. The you that remains when all the roles are stripped away. The you that watches your life unfold, witnessing your triumphs and struggles with quiet awareness. That you, the quiet witnessing self, is already complete. It doesn't need a title or validation. It doesn't even need improvement. It simply is. As you rest, imagine touching that core of yourself, a deep ease, a wordless acceptance that says, I am. No comparison, no performance, just being. This isn't about becoming someone better or more enlightened. It's about recognizing what has always been true. You exist, you are here, and that is enough. The roles will come and go. The achievements will rise and fall. But this core self, this presence, remains constant, and it never needed to prove itself to anyone. Feel that now. Beneath all the noise, beneath all the striving, there is a quiet center that has always been at peace. Letting go of comparison doesn't happen overnight. The mind will still measure, still judge. That's what minds do. But you can meet those moments differently. When comparison arises, say quietly, ah, comparison, or ah, keeping score. Then breathe out as if releasing a bird back to the sky. You don't need to argue with it. You just don't need to believe it. The less you engage, the quieter it becomes. It's like this. Imagine you're sitting by a river. Thoughts float by like leaves on the water. Comparison floats past. Judgment floats past. Self-criticism floats past. You don't jump in and swim after them. You just watch them drift by, carried by the current. Over time, that silence makes space for peace. And peace makes space for clear seeing, for gratitude, for love, for life as it really is. When you're not constantly measuring yourself against others, you can actually see them. You can appreciate their gifts without feeling smaller. You can celebrate their joy without it threatening yours. And more importantly, you can see yourself clearly, not through the twisted lens of comparison, but with honest, caring eyes. Your breathing is slow and steady now. Each exhale releases a little more tension, a little more of the need to prove yourself. Let's try a brief practice together. Take a slow breath in. Notice the gentle expansion in your chest, the lift of your ribs. Now exhale fully, letting go of any tension. With each breath, feel yourself arriving here, into this moment. No better place to be. As you breathe, silently repeat these phrases. Don't force them, just let them settle gently. I accept who I am in this moment. Breathe in, breathe out. I release the need to compare or compete. Breathe in, breathe out. I am enough, and I belong to life itself. Breathe in, breathe out. Allow those words to settle, not as beliefs to force, but as seeds, quietly planting themselves in the heart. They don't need to take root immediately. Just let them rest there, in the soil of your awareness. Continue breathing. Each breath is a confirmation of your existence, requiring nothing from you but this gentle presence. One of the greatest misunderstandings in modern life is that self-acceptance means stopping growth. But in truth, acceptance is what makes growth possible. When you stop fighting who you are, your energy becomes available for change. You begin to transform naturally, not from fear or shame, but from self-understanding. Think of a plant. It doesn't grow by forcing itself or judging its current state. It grows by accepting the conditions it's in, the soil, the light, the water, and then naturally reaching toward the sun. Like flowers that open when the sun rises, you unfold when you trust yourself. Change still happens, but it happens through kindness, not criticism. The harshest inner critic doesn't actually motivate positive change. It paralyzes. It makes you small. It keeps you focused on what's wrong rather than opening you to what's possible. But acceptance, real, deep acceptance, creates space for growth. When you're not spending all your energy fighting yourself, that energy becomes available for learning, for evolving, for becoming. You can recognize areas where you'd like to grow without making your current self wrong. You can work toward goals without believing you're broken until you reach them. This is the paradox. You are already enough, and you can still grow. These aren't contradictions. They're companions. Let your body sink deeper into rest. Feel how acceptance itself is a kind of relaxation, a release of the constant tension of self-improvement. Remember, everyone around you carries the same hidden wish, to be enough, to be accepted, to feel that they belong. The person you compare yourself to, the one you imagine as better or happier, they are likely comparing themselves to someone else right now. The confident person at work, they're wondering if they're truly capable or just faking it. The friend with the perfect Instagram, they're comparing their life to someone else's, feeling like they're falling short. Understanding this dissolves the illusion of separation. We're all walking the same human road, arms brushing in the darkness, each of us longing for light and connection. Nobody has it all figured out. Nobody is as confident as they seem. Nobody is free from doubt or fear or the wish to be accepted. When you see this clearly, your compassion deepens, both for others and for yourself. You stop seeing others as competition and start seeing them as fellow travelers. You stop judging yourself so harshly because you realize everyone is struggling with the same basic questions. And in that recognition, something softens. The walls come down, the armor loosens. You can be vulnerable because you realize everyone is vulnerable, whether they show it or not. We are all doing our best with what we've been given. Our histories, our wounds, our gifts, our limitations. And that shared humanity is perhaps the deepest belonging of all. As your body relaxes even more deeply now, feel the warmth of belonging, not as something you have to earn, but as something that's always been available to you. You belong to the earth that holds you. You belong to the breath that sustains you. You belong to the quiet pulse of life that flows through every living being. Rest here. There's no one left to impress, no race to win, only the gentle truth that you're enough as you are. This isn't a destination you need to reach. It's a recognition of what has always been true. You've always belonged to the universe, to existence itself. Before you learned language, before you understood comparison, before you knew what it meant to succeed or fail, you belonged. You were a perfect expression of life itself, no different from a tree, or a bird, or a river. That hasn't changed. You've just forgotten it beneath all the layers of conditioning, all the messages about who you should be and what you should accomplish. But underneath all of that, the truth remains. You are a living being, worthy of existence simply because you exist. Let that wash over you now. Feel it in your bones. You belong here. If you'd like, imagine a peaceful place. It could be a meadow, a forest, a quiet beach at night. The air is soft, the world calm. You see a small fire glowing nearby, a safe, warm light. Around it sit people from across your life and history. Not just friends or family, but every version of yourself that has ever existed. The child, the teenager, the adult, the times you triumphed, the times you struggled, they are all here, watching you with calm eyes. The version of you that was bullied in school, there, warmed by the fire. The version that made mistakes and felt ashamed, there too, forgiven. The version that succeeded but still felt empty, welcomed home. The version that loved and lost, held with tenderness. There is no judgment here, only understanding. You feel waves of tenderness, each version of you offering forgiveness to the others. The fire flickers, reflecting that shared acceptance. Every part of you belongs around this fire. Every moment has brought you here. The child you were says, you did the best you could with what you knew. The teenager says, you survived when it felt impossible. The adult says, you're still learning, still growing, and that's okay. Let yourself feel it. Deep warmth, quiet reunion, home. All these parts of you have been waiting for this moment, when you would stop running, stop judging, and simply gather them all close. You can return to this fire anytime. It's always burning, always waiting, always warm. Now that you have rested in this sense of belonging, notice how comparison no longer feels necessary. When you stand rooted in self-acceptance, others no longer threaten your worth. Their success does not diminish you. Their beauty does not erase yours. You begin to see clearly again that each person is simply a different expression of the same life. A tree doesn't compare itself to other trees. A river doesn't envy other rivers. They simply exist, fully themselves, contributing their unique presence to the world. There's room for everyone, including you. Your gifts don't take away from someone else's gifts. Your joy doesn't diminish someone else's joy. Your existence is not at the expense of anyone else's existence. In fact, when you're fully yourself, not trying to be anyone else, not making yourself smaller to make others comfortable, you give others permission to do the same. Your authenticity invites authenticity. Your acceptance invites acceptance. This is how we heal together, not by all becoming the same, but by each of us becoming fully who we are. Feel how much lighter this is, how much more spacious. Without the weight of comparison, you can simply be. As the words fade, let your body grow heavier, sinking deeper into comfort. If you wish, repeat silently, I am safe, I belong, I am enough. Let that rhythm match your breath, slow and steady. You have spent so long running a race that never needed to be run. But tonight, you can rest. No judgment follows you here. No expectations, no comparisons. Only the genuine warmth of being alive. Allow sleep to come whenever it wishes. Let the body surrender, the mind quiet. Your value doesn't depend on what you achieve tomorrow. Your worth doesn't depend on who you become. You are already whole. The comparing mind is finally quiet. The judging voice has softened. In this moment, there is only peace. Let your awareness become like mist, dissolving gently, thought by thought, letting go, worry by worry, releasing. You are held by something larger than yourself, by the earth beneath you, by the breath within you, by the vast mystery of existence itself. And in this holding, you can finally rest. You are held. You are accepted. You are part of everything. You belong. Good night. Rest well. You are enough. Always.